You said something a couple of years ago when you're like, you saw the cognitive decline of President Biden. And maybe I read it wrong that in a meeting with you, he started taking his shirt off or something like that. Did you say that, or what's the shirt story?
Okay. So
there is a shirt story.
There is a shirt story, but he had his shirt
story. Okay.
What's so interesting, now this is another thing. It was a wild tour. I go down for the president. There was this Congresswoman, Jackie Worski, who had passed away in a car wreck. And we had named a VA clinic after her. And the president put a really nice note out when she died, but the week he's going to sign this bill, he's at this event, and he asked Jackie to come up to stage. And so it was an embarrassing moment, right? So he's not going to have press in the White House that day. So it's Pelosi and I and one other member from Indiana. Her family's in there. Her mother's 90 years old. I know him well. I recruited Jackie. She had to run 2 times before she got there. So we go into the Oval Office, and Biden's kind of out of it. And I've known Biden for a while, right? I know when he's in and not. And he starts telling this old story he always tells about when he was in the Senate and Ronald Reagan was president and Bork got knocked out and Reagan has him down and offering Kennedy to come to the White House. And so he takes us on a little tour. Outside the Oval, you walk down and you go to the dining room. I've been there many times, but he takes in there and he's giving us a tour. I have never walked out of the glass wall. I didn't know that there was a door there, but we're sitting there and he's talking. He's on one side of the table and I'm on the other side with Jill. And he turns to Jackie's mom. He goes, "You want to go outside?" He says kind of like that. Jill hears him and says, No, they don't want to go outside. I'm thinking, boy, this is weird. And he turns back around and goes, "You don't want to go outside?" He opens the door and he walks us down to the private swimming pool. And then he walks up to the changing rooms and he tries the door and it's locked. He goes, "It's locked." And then the Secret Service comes and unlocks it and it's just 2 dressing rooms, right? And now I'm kind of like, as an American, oh my God, I got to help get this guy back into the White House, right? So we go back into the White House and you've got to understand, between the dining room, there's a hallway. And all there is a bathroom and there's a little room. Now, I don't want to be rude, but this is where it was famous in Clinton's presidency. Trump had made it into a gift shop. He makes it in, and I'm not lying to you, it's as long as this table. It's not very big. He walks in there, he has a little desk, a picture behind it, and he has a valet with a blue dress shirt all wrinkled on it. And I'm thinking, when does the president take his shirt off in here? Now, why doesn't the staff take that out of here? Why is he changing clothes? What's he? And you got to understand, you're less than 5 yards from the Oval Office. And there's no other, you either go in the dining room or the Oval Office. And he made it feel like it was his happy place. And I was like, oh my God, right? But then when we got back to the Oval Office, he clicked, right? And then there's a picture of Lincoln. He goes, "Kevin, you know why Lincoln's up here? Because we've never been in this type of turmoil since the Civil War." Okay, whatever. And every time I met with him, it was like a different person. And I didn't tell anybody about that meeting because he was going off to like a G7 or G20. And as an American, I was like, oh my God, I hope he's not around another leader, right? And I become speaker a little bit later, short time later. And the press has started anyway. You used to have a relationship with Kevin. You haven't really had one with him since he's been minority leader. And they were afraid I was going to tell that story, right? And so they come out and said, "Oh, no, he just took Kevin on a nice tour." And I was like, oh no, that wasn't it. But I would be in these meetings, and what I found was he always talked from a card. And if I disrupted him, he'd just close his book. He couldn't talk anymore. So I used it as a strategy, right? And when we were doing the debt ceiling, I would use that. But what he did is we got closer. He brought the other leaders in, because that's a disadvantage to me if you bring the other leaders in, because they're telling me no. And if you're the speaker, this is my strategy. I'm only going to negotiate with the president. The Senate, they need 60 votes. But if I make an agreement with you, they have to vote for it. If I'm in negotiating with you and them, they're saying no, and you're not going to get anything. So what he would do, when you have these meetings in the Oval Office, you want to be the first one out to the sticks because you want to set the tone because the world's wanting to know, right? So what was interesting is the White House kind of controls the press there. They tell them when to come up. So I'm kind of angry in this meeting because he's asking for more taxes. I said, I'm never doing that. So I go up and I'm sitting in this little office and I see Schumer and Hakeem coming around the corner with the White House press. They're trying to go out to the sticks first. So I said, forget that. I said, the speaker goes first. Now, it's not a rule, but I'm in line to the presidency. They're not. So I go out there and I lay out the plane. I could tell Schumer's mad. So the next time we have a meeting, they thought they'd outsmart me. So they have the president ask me a question at the end, right? But he kind of mumbles, so I don't care what he says. I do whatever. And so they want to get out there first. So they're leaving the meeting first, but this is where they make their mistake. You can't take your phone in there. So you got to put them in these little coveys, but that's where the cocaine is. So I never take my phone in because I thought they would blame me, right? So Schumer goes to get his phone. I just go right around him, go back out to the stakes first. You lay out the case. And the thing that was different, because he had fallen back, if you're in a negotiation, the president has an advantage because he has a bully pulpit normally, but he couldn't talk to the press. So I would do 2 press conferences a day. I went directly to the people. And when I'd walk to the floor, they always have 3 cameras lined up there to do interviews. If anybody was interviewing live, I'd step into the interview because they can't cut you then, right? They got to take exactly what I say. I don't care if it's CNN, whatever else. I would go for the debate. Because, look, my whole debate is you had to spend less than we spent last year. If we appropriated COVID money and it hadn't been spent, let's pull it back, right? Let's make America energy independent. Let's pull back. Let's get some reforms in welfare, help people get back to work. NEPA gave you opportunities that we can build again. They're all things that I know 80% of America agrees with.
What's the first time you had a meeting with President Biden privately, even when he was a senator? What's the first time you have an interaction with him?
He was vice president.
So what year would that have been? 08, 09, 12,
yeah,
11?
I came in 07.
Okay.
And then he was elected. I didn't have a one-on-one meeting when he was senator, but that was in, what was the presidency elected? When did Obama win?
8/16, 2008 to 2016.
Yeah.
So when was it?
And I came
early
07.
on?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you met him, how impressive was he when you spoke to him? Because you watched some of the clips from earlier on with him. He's pretty impressive. He's not bad from stage. He's a storyteller. He's got good. Some charm.
He's likable. He's charming. I would go up when he was vice president. I would have breakfast with them in the observation up there at what they call it at the VP house. And
in the White House, or are you talking like Hay Adams right across the street?
No. In the VP house, in the vice president's house.
Vice president's
when he was
house.
Vice president.
Got it.
I'd have breakfast with him. He had been, since his mid-20s, he had been senator. He's likable. He knows charming, right? He'd pick up, try to call my mom, you know. He knew how to do things. But when I saw him again, when he became president, and I saw him when he was outside of office too, I could tell there was a real difference. And each time I saw him, there was a considerable difference.
This is the USA gear, limited edition for the rest of the year. If you love America, sport this USA gear. On the side, it says Future Looks Bright. On the back, it says Valuetainment. On the side, it's got the American flag. We got the shirts. We got the flip-flops. These are the only flip-flops I wear when I'm at the house and walking the dogs. It feels amazing with the gel in it. So if you love America, if you believe the future looks bright, if you love Valuetainment, click on the link above or below. Go wear some of the gear and tag us because we share the pictures on the podcast all the time. So go to vtmerch.com and place your order.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.